Alright everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today we are going to be doing the build for the new LR-STR, Goku, Black Rose, and Zamasu. So, if you have watched my videos before, then you know that we do builds here, and I will be going through the breakdown of the unit. I'll be going through their defense numbers, attack numbers if I can find them, and then the build suggestions and roll tips. And in this unit's case, also, there are special equipment orbs. So, go ahead and get ready, and let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with the unit's kit here, they are both a Rose and Zamasu. We'll start off with the Rose portion of the unit. As far as their 200% options go, it's not looking too amazing, mostly because their kit is restricted to a degree. So basically, they themselves are probably their best leader. You can run them under the STR cell to 20% lead and int hit as well. Those are two 20% options. Everything else under the sun in here is all 200% only. I do not believe that... Oh, wait, no. They might actually be... Are they 220% under this lead? Final trump card. So because they are final trump card, they should be also on the 220 for the new Goku and Vegeta unit, though I wouldn't necessarily suggest it, mostly because this unit needs extreme units and the Goku and Vegeta needs super units. Though Future Saga is a thing and they both do not need a full team, so there is the possibility you could run them on the same team. But anyways, their leader skill is Super Boss category, Ki +4, HP attack and defense of 220, so yes, they are a carnival unit. 12 Ki greatly raises attack and raises defense and then lowers enemies' attack. So they only greatly raise attack on the 12 Ki. And then on 18 Ki, they actually stack greatly. And they give allies 60% attack support. This is actually extremely nice, and I think could be very useful in the future. Basic attack, or basic effects, is attack and defense 200%. They receive an additional Ki +2 per Ki sphere attained. They get attack and defense of 80% and attacks effective against all types for allies whose name includes Goku Black. So basically, this says that every Goku Black named unit on the attack rotation gets attacks effective against all types and an extra attack and defense of 80%. Maybe I'm reading it wrong and they don't get the attack and defense of 80%, but they at least all get attacks effective against all types, which just means that you have type neutral damage. So if an STR unit is attacking an AGL unit, they'll just do neutral damage to it rather than less damage. Now, per extreme class ally or Future Saga category ally on the team, you'll get an attack and defense of 50% up to 150, and you'll get an additional chance of critting and damage reduction by 20% up to 60. So what this means is you need 3 extreme class allies or 3 Future Saga category allies on the team. One of the two doesn't count him, so you need 3 other Future Saga or Extreme Class allies on the team. And when all allies in the attacking turn are Extreme Class, or if there is another Future Saga category ally attacking in the same turn, they will guard. 60% damage reduction and guard. You've seen this before. Basically, this is another Grade Ape Vegeta, so long as you follow these restrictions. When activating the active skill or hitting 18 Ki, attack 200%, launches an additional super attack that has a 70% chance to super attack. Not sure why they didn't just give a free additional. And when receiving an attack, defense plus 180. And starting from the 4th turn, you can exchange into Zamasu. Now, starting from the 4th turn, you can activate their active skill. And just like the Goku and Vegeta, they also have 2 different active skills. And because this is an exchange unit, you can only activate one of them. So do keep that in mind, please, when you're using these exchange units, is that they both have different actives and you can only activate one during the entire fight. So, Roses gives him all attacks become critical hits, Super Boss category allies, attack and defense of 15%, plus an additional defense plus 10% for characters who also belong to Future Saga category for 4 turns. So the unfortunate thing about Rose's active is that it is only for 4 turns, but it is supporting all Super Bosses on the team. Now, they do have different links. I will say that. Dismal Future, Fear and Faith, Nightmare, Kamehameha, Big Bad Bosses, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. They are on quite a few different categories, mostly because of the Rose Goku side. As far as their link partners go, there's not a lot here. Now, there is technically a lot here, but at the same time, most of these units have aged out. I will say that the LR is getting a temporary buff for the month of July, but after the celebration of the GDC is over, it will return to basically a kind of dead unit. And it will not be getting a super easy A anytime soon. So if you are watching this and playing this game during the global Dokkan celebration, do take advantage, because it's the only time you're going to see this unit being quote-unquote good. Now, otherwise, as far as best partner goes, it's just going to be himself. You know, that's kind of Zamasu's thing, is to love himself. So that's just, yeah. Unfortunately, the Super Easy A physical Goku Black, it did not age well. Lacking in a lot of things. He is just pure raw defense. He is orb reliant. It's a struggle to use him a little bit. Though I will say that he could potentially see some extra time here. Maybe he gets a big enough buff from these new units, and maybe he'll be usable again. So he is a good option anyways, as far as a partner goes, and a unit on the team. This AGL Rose is getting a Super Easy A in a week's time from this video's posting, which should be around, let me see here, should be about roughly the week of July 14th, roughly. Or at the end of the week, somewhere in there. So look forward to that. Very good, super easy. I'll have a separate build video for him later discussing my thoughts on him. As far as other units, unfortunately, there's just not much. The physical Rose just did not age well. Very low defense numbers, but with a decent amount of damage reduction. And then you have the Easy A AGL Zamasu, who does stack and has 50% damage reduction. So he can be okay as long as you're getting his stacks focused in. But if he's not stacking enough, then he's actually just going to end up being a liability too. Outside of that, unfortunately, most of the other teams, the units that this can use, need super easy A's, easy A's, etc. I do think that this Zamasu here could be getting an easy A in the future, so this could be a very viable rotation in the future, but as of right now, at the time of recording, it is not. And that's pretty much it. So let's move on to the Zamasu side. Now, the Zamasu side is a little bit different. He acts a little different. In a sense, Rose is a slot 1 unit. He's a grade A Vegeta, right? Well, Zamasu's not. Zamasu's more of a slot 2 or even a 3 unit. I wouldn't say 3, mostly because he's so good you want to keep him on rotation, but he's just not viable in slot 1 because of his start-to-turn defense. We'll get into that into his defense numbers. But his super attack for 12 key is greatly raising attack and defense and lowering the enemy's defense. His 18 key is massively raising his own attack and defense for 1 turn, and then he recovers 20% HP. That is an absurd amount of HP recovery. I cannot stress that enough. Now, once you actually exchange into the Zamasu, you'll get key plus 7 attack and defense 200%. You'll get a 50% chance to crit and guard all attacks just naturally. When attacking, attack and defense 200. Future Saga Extreme allies will get a damage reduction rate of 10%. And then when you activate the active skill, or when with 20 or more key attack and defense of 200%, get a free additional super, another attack and defense of 300%, and performs a crit, and then recovers 6% HP dealt as damage when HP is 60% or less. The amount of HP recovery on this guy is insane. Though I will say, because of the way this team is as of right now, like Super Bosses, Future Saga in general, this isn't a very reliable unit portion. Like, Zamasu himself wants to be in slot 1 because every other unit you'll tag onto this team doesn't or can't go into slot 1. It's not necessarily that the unit is bad, it's just that his start-to-turn defense is too low to throw him into slot 1. If you're running double, you can of course run the other leader into the slot 1 and then just keep them side by side. That is an option. But because of how outdated all of these Future Saga units are, it just makes it so it's almost impossible to keep him up unless there's just no attacks coming in slot 1. So 99% of the time at the time of recording, you're not even going to be able to use this Zamasu outside of using the active skill. So you'll just be basically in the Rose state the entire time, keeping him in slot 1, and that's it. It's kind of disappointing because this is a whole celebration, and a celebration is supposed to be like buffing an entire category, and right now Future Saga seems really weak. It's super weak. So anyways, he does have an active skill when you're the Zamasu. He'll fuse into Fusion Zamasu temporarily. It is not permanent, and he'll massively raise attack, cause ultimate damage, get Ki +4 and attack +40 for the rest of battle. This does increase his damage a lot. It makes him pretty dang powerful, I will say. I think the only link here that changes is Godly Power, I want to say. Godly Power is switched over from Kamehameha from Rose to Zamasu. But yeah, he doesn't have any better link partners. They have virtually the exact same link partners. So keep them with themselves. Keep them with the opposite leader. Maybe if you can stack enough with the AGL Zamasu, he'll be fine. Maybe we'll get an easy A for the Intelligence LR Zamasu. And I mean, Rose will be, the AGL Rose will be nice, but he's going to be a slot 2 at best, or a floating unit at the end of the day. He's not going to be a main rotation unit. So, I mean, by all means, let me know what kind of units you plan on teaming up with him, because I couldn't find too much to really run at the current time of recording. So, with all of that being said, let's just go ahead, go take a look at his defense, and maybe if I can find them, attack calculations. Alright, these defense calculations are compliments of Halvard over on Twitter. So as far as the Rosé portion of the kit here, we're looking at pretty numbers, but at the same time, 60% damage reduction and guard goes really far. So on a full Extreme or Future Saga team, when receiving an attack, he's already at start of turn defense at a 1.2, and then post super 1.6, and then if he doubles 2.0. So 2 million defense, not bad. 60% damage reduction with guard. He's obviously living just about everything. Now with active skill, he's basically unchanged. It doesn't change too much, mostly because he needs to get a free additional super that he doesn't have. But basically, if you can triple super magically with the hidden potential, you can get up to 2.5 million. This is on Rainbow though, so just keep your mileage to how you're going to be using the unit. If you only have a 55% unit and you only have the bronze and silver equip, I'm going to just straight up take the assumption that you're not even going to hit 1.2 million defense. You'll probably be somewhere around the 1 million, if not like 900k. Dupes are going to mean a lot for this guy, including the Goku Vegeta unit. So just keep that in mind. It is something to be wary about. Also, this active skill is only taking into consideration of the temporary 4-turn buff from the Rosé point. So this isn't even like realistic in my personal opinion. This is just like extra. What you're really going to realistically see is just this right here, the 1.2. Not a bad thing, because he's basically grade 8 Vegeta, so he should be safe. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. His highest level of defense is not technically reliable for the entire fight. It's only for a total of 2 appearances, which is 4 turns. Now, moving on to the Zamasu state here, we get much higher. Woo! Much higher defense. So when attacking with 20 or more ki, just default 1 super, you're at 2.6. Double super, 3.2. Triple super, almost 4 million defense. If your HP gets below 60% or less, you're looking like you're almost doubling some of these numbers, and then with active skill, and yeah. So, this is probably, once again, not really technically realistic. More than likely, you're never going to be below 60% HP. I can't stress this enough, because here's the thing. Bro is recovering 6% of the damage he deals. And that's a lot of HP. That's a lot of HP. He's recovering on his 18 ki at 20%. The odds of you being below the 60% threshold is so low. It is just so abysmal. It's just so low that you'll be below this point that even if you get below the 60% HP marker, it's more than likely what will happen is you'll get the super attack off, you'll recover 20% and 6% of the damage you deal, which is going to be absurdly high, and you're just going to go above the 60% HP threshold. You'll lose the attack and defense buff right here, and then you'll just be right back down to the normal amount. So literally while you're attacking, you'll probably be at like this crazy defense number, but as soon as you recover that HP past the 60% marker, you'll be right, your defense will take a hit. So it's a good thing that these numbers are really stupidly good and he has a natural guard, because otherwise I would be really, really annoyed if all of a sudden we just take a stupidly 6 million plus super and then, yeah. But as of the time of writing, there's not too many things in the game that can actually kill Zamasu. In fact, I will be astonished if this Zamasu ever dies post-super at all. The only way you can kill this Zamasu is start a turn, is literally frame 1. If he gets locked into slot 1, cannot super attack, and he gets hit with a 6+ million super, yeah, you're dead. But then again, if you're Rose, he lives anyways because he's got the 60% damage reduction and guard, so it's irrelevant. So, very interesting units defense-wise, lots of utility, HP recovery, loads of damage, support, but the problem is they just don't really have a team. But we'll get into that once we hit the roll tips. Let's go ahead and go move on over to the build suggestions. Alright, I lied. We're going to actually go over the equipment. So, if you didn't know, there's a Special Battle 2025 challenge event that will give equipment for this unit. It'll give you a level 9 bronze, level 6 silver, and a level 6 and level 3 gold. So you have to clear, I'm assuming it's stage 2. You have to clear stage 2 on Super, Super 2, and Super 3 in order to actually acquire these orbs. It doesn't matter if you use items, you don't need a special team or nothing, you just need to clear them. How difficult are these? I honestly don't know because this is before all of these events are landing. My assumption is it's going to be really hard. But for those that only get the 55%, I assume the Super and Super 2 will at least be manageable, so those will give you the primary defense orbs, and you should be pretty much golden on that. These should be dropping along with the events in the banner come 7/6, July 6th. But yeah. Alright, now let's move on to the actual builds here. So, as far as the builds go, 55% is pretty plain and simple. Unlike the Goku Vegeta unit, this is a very simply designed unit, mostly because of the equipment orbs that they give. They kind of force you into going a specific route. But 1200 defense silver orb and a 900 defense bronze orb, that will actually get you on a stupidly high defense, and there's no reason not to rock either of these. Unfortunately, this does mean that you won't be able to choose any extra hidden potential, things like additional or more dodge or crit or whatever have you. This unit doesn't need crit, they need dodge or additional. I would prefer additional personally, but these equipment orbs are, well, mandatory almost, and they just need to kind of be used. So 55%, just go ahead and use these equipment and just move on. As far as getting for one dupe builds, you might as well just go ahead and give them full additional. Once again, I don't think this unit needs dodge per se, at least not right now at the time of recording. But being only one dupe, you don't get an extra gold equip or anything yet, so you're just stuck with the one bottom right hidden potential node path. You can get up to a level 9 additional, and then you'll have one extra node to put into dodge. With the silver equipment, that'll put you up to a level 9 dodge and a level 9 additional. Won't look impressive, but the unit's just impressive by nature, so you should be fine. But the unit starts getting impressive once you actually get 2 dupes. Once you get 2 dupes, you can go for a level 15 additional, which with the gold equip, that'll put him up to a 21. That's a 42% chance to additional. And then with the silver equip and the extra node, you'll go from a level 6 naturally to a 12 dodge. There's pretty much no reason to not use these equipment orbs, and I would just highly suggest you just use these and only these. Unless some specific stupid crazy event makes it so you don't need additional and you need dodge heavily and it's just you're just dodge or die for whatever reason and the game just broke, then I think this was perfectly the only build to use. So, unless you're a dodge or die fanatic, of course. And for the last part of the video, we just got the roll tips. Zamasu is kind of a jack of all trades. He does just about everything. He recovers, he does damage, he's a tank, he's just everything. He's just him. I don't have a specific role for him because he just does everything. But primarily he needs to be in slot 1 as Rose, and then if you switch to Zamasu, he needs to be in slot 2, mostly because he just cannot survive in slot 2 as Zamasu, but as Rose, he's just like a grade 8 Vegeta that can tank everything. As far as his leader skills go, he himself is his best leader, but the only other 220 options that I would suggest would either be Hit or it would be STR Cell. Unfortunately, STR Cell's domain does not apply to him, but it is another leader option for you. Yes, he is technically on the new Goku Vegeta team. Yes, you can go ahead and do that and throw him onto that team if you so wish. I personally don't like the lack of synergy when you're mixing these super and extreme type units that are specifically made to be rocking with other extreme or super units. So I don't suggest putting him on that team, but you can do it. It is something you can do. Now, as far as his partners go, as I said before, he doesn't really have too many options, unfortunately, because Future Saga Extreme is just not very good right now. Future Saga is not actually that good in general right now. It's just these brand new units, basically. But the physical, the AGL Rose that will get his Super EZA next week, he will be a solid partner. He himself is his best partner if you're running double leader. The AGL Zamasu is okay, but he really needs to get his stacks focused in, and it could cost you if you are not careful. It's also good to know that if you do switch over to the Zamasu for the STR unit, you can give this AGL Zamasu an extra 10% damage reduction, which will put him at 60% damage reduction, which, although I don't think it'll be like breaking him, making him absurdly good all of a sudden, but I think it will help quite a bit in certain rotations if you can. There's also the new free-to-play clone roses that are actually pretty decent. I'd say the best one is the AGL Rose that can be utilized in majority of content, mostly because he's just a dodge or die throw-on unit. Not the best unit, but at the time of recording, he is one of the only partners you can reliably use in current content. And as I said, best slot position, slot 1 for Rose, slot 2 for Zamasu. And I think that's going to be pretty much it. There's not too many other things to really go over with this unit. I don't really like the lacking of team options. It's just Future Saga is not very good right now. It's a very good unit with very little options to be utilizing. Hopefully the celebration will give us more to work with, because this is a very, very good unit that is just trapped behind its categories and leader skill. And I don't find it a very good leader skill. I don't think Super Bosses is that great. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please let me know how you're going to build the unit, what teams are you going to use, and let me know how your summons go. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and a good night.